Welcome to You're That's Fired Broncos. I'm Brandon. Nobody can fucking fire me because my job isn't real perna. Shit is getting uglier in Broncos country. Offensive coordinator Mike McCoy has been fired by Vance Joseph. Current quarterbacks coach Bill Musgrave has been promoted to offensive coordinator. Remember when I said don't fire them all? Well, nobody's listening to me and I'm guessing I was wrong. Was Mike McCoy a scapegoat? Yes. Is he responsible for the offensive struggles? Yes. But maybe. But why is a goat a good thing if you're Tom Brady, but a bad thing if you're a scapegoat, and indifferent if you're a literal goat? That's what I want to know. I just watched Vance Joseph's press conference. He said he fired Mike McCoy and then notified Elway of the decision he made, which I don't think any of us believe at this point. Let's talk about this shit. That's good, Broncos. This episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. There's a link in the description, and if you use my promo code, that's good, you're gonna get $20 off your first SeatGeek ticket purchase. And the next Broncos home game might be pretty interesting, so use my 20% discount on SeatGeek. They rank all of their ticket prices so you know what kind of deal you're getting, and you can preview your seat before you buy it. And if you're tired of football, use it for tickets to something else. Maybe a one-man show in Denver. If I created a one-man show, how much would you pay to watch it? Does firing Mike McCoy make sense at this point? No. Does firing Mike McCoy at this point make sense? Yes. Like everything, there's no clear answer. The biggest reason it makes sense is because the Broncos have another experienced offensive coordinator on the roster in Bill Musgrave. He had a lot of success last year with the Raiders before he was fired for no good reason there. Although I did hear he was responsible for breaking Derek Carr's leg, so maybe that's why. It's the same logic behind the reasoning that you can bench Trevor Siemian, as you have Brock Osweiler behind him, and you can now bench Brock Osweiler in favor of Paxton Lynch, right? But if Paxton doesn't work out, where do you go? To fire a major coaching position mid-season, you have to have a replacement you feel is equal, if not better. I believe that is why McCoy is gone and Brock Olivo is still there. Also, in Vance Joseph's press conference, they asked him if Trevor Siemian was a possibility to start this weekend, and he said, yes, nothing is off the table at this point. So this week's gonna be fucking nuts. The reasoning behind McCoy's axing is that Vance and John were not pleased with McCoy's belief that his scheme would eventually fix the offensive struggles. Vance believed McCoy needed to simplify the playbook and that the offense didn't have an identity. Both those things may be true, but I'm not sure if I buy it at this point. From what we've also heard, McCoy was simplifying the playbook over the last few weeks, but who the fuck knows at this point? Here's my first big question for you, for every Broncos fan here watching. Does anyone believe that Vance Joseph fired Mike McCoy? They are all going to tell us this was his call, but I feel like the consensus is that Vance just does what John Elway tells him to do. We all believe, true or not, that Vance is a John Elway yes man, and that's the real reason he was hired. If that is indeed true, like many of us believe, I think this is a problem. Say what you want about Gary Kubiak, he had the balls to tell John Elway no. But I'm not there, so I have no idea what the real power dynamic is within that organization. Everything right now is speculation. And here's why I don't buy into the Mike McCoy firing as a surefire corrective move. I don't believe the issue is mostly a coaching problem at this point. Coaches and players have to be on the same page, and McCoy, I think, is a good enough coordinator that with the right players can have success. But here's the issue. McCoy needs time to build an offense around what he likes to do, and that's true for any coach in the NFL. McCoy was asked to come in and work with a group of guys assembled by now 3 different coaching staffs, each with a different vision of what the team should be. That's a tough position to be in. I mean, in comparison right now, how is Adam Gase doing in Miami with Ryan Tannehill getting hurt, Jay Cutler getting hurt, and Matt Moore? How's that offense doing? Not great. You know? How's John Fox doing in Chicago without Peyton Manning? A lot of coaching success depends on the players, which leads me to say I believe players are the biggest reason for success on a team. And that's not to say that NFL coaches don't have a big impact on the game. There are examples of guys like Bill Belichick. Hell, even Wade Phillips here with the defense, Mike Shanahan in the 90s that played a huge part in the team's success. There are varying degrees of everything in this situation working and not working. Take Seattle, for example, where defensive coordinators roll in and out, have great success, and get head coaching jobs because they were coaching one of the most talented units in the league. There are people who believe this firing needed to be done and that it will send a message to the team that Elway means business. And somehow everyone will start to play better. I think we are beyond that point. We are officially at deconstruction and heading into full rebuild mode. It's not bad, it's not good, that's just football. The most cyclical of all sports if you don't have an elite quarterback. Week to week, it's a different group of players or a different unit or a different coach catching the blame for the most recent loss. That's the real problem. There are going to be a lot of player changes this offseason, and the only thing you can do right now is evaluate as many players and coaches as possible. In firing McCoy, John Elway has to believe that even if given time to bring in players to fit what he does well as a coach, that McCoy is not the long-term solution and that Bill Musgrave has a greater chance at becoming your offensive coordinator for the future. If you're Vance Elway, and you don't believe that, well, you just fired McCoy for no real reason. I keep trying to think about this. And what's hard for me to understand right now is Mike McCoy was touted as being the guy who adapted his offense to fit the player skill sets. That is what we heard all offseason, and that is why he would be better than Rick Kubiak. And now, in his firing, he is too rigid to change, the same way Kubiak was too rigid to change his offense and fire his underperforming coaching personnel. That's why I think this is a farce. Players, coaches, and GMs all have to work together. They have to gel and form chemistry, and maybe McCoy and the offensive personnel weren't on the same page, and therefore maybe it is good for him to go. However, we saw him have success with Tim Tebow, Peyton Manning, and Phillip Rivers. We saw Gary Kubiak have tremendous success with Joe Flacco the season before coming to Denver. And we even witnessed Rick Dennison have some success with Tyrod Taylor this season in Buffalo until Buffalo imploded. So when Vance Joseph says McCoy needs to simplify the playbook, I really think it means McCoy, like Kubiak, didn't want to simplify what they do down to the level that Paxton Lynch could run their offense. And even that idea is muddied by the fact that Paxton Lynch injured his throwing shoulder. Supposedly, he couldn't play at all for the first half of this season. So who the hell knows what's true right now? Why would McCoy need to simplify the playbook for the offense? That's my question. Demaryius Thomas played in that system with success, and so did... Oh shit, Demaryius Thomas was the only offensive player outside of Brock Osweiler on the team last time Mike McCoy was here. So maybe Matt Paradis, Max Garcia, Ron Leary, Garrett Bowles, Alan Barber, C.J. Anderson, Devontae Booker, Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Benny Fowler, Virgil Green, Jeff Hireman, A.J. Derby, Isaiah McKenzie, Jamal Charles, and Jordan Taylor are all too stupid to run Mike McCoy's offense. Yeah, that must be the problem. Your entire offense is too dumb to learn what Mike McCoy wants to do. Figured it out. Every offensive coordinator is shit without a great QB to run the show. Wide receivers are shit without a great QB to pass them the ball. Now, you can have an offense that runs the ball well even if your QB is bad. You just need a top 5 offensive line and the right running backs, but in today's NFL, that is the outlier. And McCoy is definitely not the type of OC who wants to lean on the run to win games. So philosophically, there is a difference there. Thus, a problem. And when I listened to Vance Joseph's press conference today, one little thing he said, it did have a ring of truth to it. When talking about the offense being too complex, he basically broke it down saying he thought they needed to master the basics before they expanded into what Mike McCoy wanted to do, and that he didn't see the offense mastering the basics of the offensive game plans. And that could be true. That is a fair, I think, point and a fair way to look at that situation. It's tough because arguments can be made from every direction, right? The Los Angeles Rams get a new coaching staff, they go in there and they turn the team around. But in order for that to happen, the talent had to be there on the team. And then the question is, do you believe the Broncos still have that talent? Or are they at a position where they have to rebuild that talent? Don't know anymore. Don't freaking know. Bad team play is a accumulation of so many things, but the biggest one being the Broncos don't have a suitable quarterback to run any NFL offense right now. The most ironic thing is that the quarterback who looked the best running Gary Kubiak's offense was Brock Osweiler. But Kubiak is gone. Well, he's a scout or something, but gone, baby, gone. You've also had two coaching staffs that decided Paxton Lynch wasn't ready or capable of running their scheme, but now you have to start Paxton in order to make an educated decision about what you do at the quarterback position in 2018. And maybe Musgrave is the right guy to give Paxton a simple offense to succeed. Musgrave will get to make his debut against the team that fired him in the Raiders this weekend. Musgrave and Paxton Lynch, they might get a win because the Raiders suck right now too. And if that happens, the shit show's really gonna get filled with more shit because everyone will be saying, see, we just needed Paxton Lynch and Musgrave the whole time. And who knows, that too could be fucking true. It's all a goddamn guessing game. I am beyond confused at this point. If you're Musgrave and they ask you if you can simplify the offense and succeed with Paxton Lynch, what would you say? Yes, I think I can definitely do that. Musgrave has nowhere to go but up. And if Musgrave somehow finds offensive success in these last 6 games, he's going to look like a fucking genius. I wish I was Musgrave right now because that's a guy in a great position. Mike McCoy is just the first domino to fall, and maybe switching to Domino's from Papa John's was a mistake, but we can never go back to Papa for many reasons. So we need to find our Blaze Fire Pizza, or switch to a completely different genre of food like Jersey Mike's, and everything will be okay. The 2018 Broncos are gonna look a whole lot different. And that's crazy to say this early in the season. I will be uploading a soft John Elway video later, so look out for that. Lots to discuss, but I've got to give big dick shout outs for my Patreon supporters, Nicholas Ryan, Braden, Rubleski, and James Williamson. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I am relying on Patreon to keep this channel going, so your monthly donations are like my NFL player contracts. It's not fully guaranteed, but based on faith, I will perform if you pay. I'll be doing more giveaways for Patreons later this month, probably after Thanksgiving, with some That's Good Sports shirts or something like that from the That's Good Sports store. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Broncos. Subscribe here on YouTube. You know you gotta sub if you want to get the Broncos updates from my stupid mouth. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna. Share these videos on Facebook. And fucking hold on, Broncos fans. The roller coaster, we just took the first little drop. There's gonna be like 20 more drops coming. Up and down, we're going.